What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid techno, back with another tune from the Stay Up Forever 100 series, which is now more than a decade in the past. And yes, we're going to listen to a tune from Stay Up Forever 100 Part 4, 100.4. And as you see, I have two regular copies of this record, as well as a white label copy. So we'll listen to the white label again, and as I said in the reaction to Dark Mark and Syndrome's Acid in Your Soul, I don't remember whether this white label I got by buying it on the Stay Up Forever website, because again, they used to list some white labels when a release was just coming out, or if it's one that Aaron threw in for a larger order I had made. In any case, this is an interesting installment in the 100 series, because if you go look at Discogs, there's a number of, let's say, mixed and in a couple cases negative interpretations, or not interpretations, but assessments of this release and its place not only in the Stay Up Forever label catalog more broadly, but even among the Stay Up Forever 100 releases. I'll stop misspeaking if I can, but I think it's a bit too much, meaning I think this is a good record, not only indicated by me buying multiple copies, but because I think some of the criticisms are a bit off the mark in terms of why they suggest this isn't a great release. Which is to say, there's a couple people, and these are people who I see comment on a lot of acid techno records and whose opinions I highly value and in many cases agree with, but there's a couple folks saying that it feels like the tracks on this record are a bit too much like hard house, which for me wouldn't be a criticism. I very much enjoy hard house, especially that like turn of the millennium, Hoover heavy and sometimes acid infused hard house. But I get that there's some people in the acid techno world who aren't overly fond of the hard house genre, but I don't think the tracks here are that much in that vein. Maybe the track Dragons is a bit more so, but ultimately I think that's a good tune. And there's a couple critiques of this record on the Discogs page that suggest it's not as envelope pushing. It's almost like more club style acid techno rather than truly like underground rave party acid techno. And I think that's also a misfire, and I don't really agree with it. And certainly a track On the Prowl, it's wicked, it's dark and dirty. That's very much one of the styles that is a calling card of Stay Up Forever going back to the early 90s. Mysterious Pills by KN, it has a heavy, dark and brooding type of feel to it. And Acid in My Mind here by Sterling Moss is a great track, and I think maybe people hear it as being a bit more club-like because it has a high-pitched vocal, which again, that was common in hard house as well, so maybe that's part of why that assessment is being made. And it's not terribly dissimilar from a vocal he used in his Hit Me With Your Acid box on his own Rebel Tech label around the same time, and I remember that track getting a bit of criticism too, but I think it's great, and ultimately I think this record is not as bad as some make it out to be. Now there's a couple other folks who commented on the Discogs page for this record saying like, dude, this is a totally good release, definitely one that you should buy. A couple saying that the track On the Prowl makes it worth buying for alone. I wouldn't disagree with that, but I would say the other three tracks are compelling too. So in any case, it has a bit of a mixed history, got a bit of a mixed reception, but I think it is a totally good record, both more broadly in SUF catalog and in specifically the Stay Up Forever 100 series. All that being said, I wanted to react to this because it has the name Acid in My Mind. I did a reaction to Acid in Your Soul, and there's another Acid in My Mind that I'm going to react to in the same batch. But in any case, Sterling's tune here, it's energetic, it's got like bright and vibrant acid work, but it has a bit of a dark drive to it as well. So again, maybe some people think the vocal is a bit too hard house, a bit too, helium voice, like high pitch, but it doesn't bother me. It's got a bit of a, a rhyme to it. It has sort of a old school flavor to it, so let's give it a listen. This is Sterling Moss and his track Acid in My Mind from Stay Up Forever 100.4, which is from 2013. Where's my TV? maybe a clap, but not every other, but every hit. Like, what do you even call it? Like techno-wind, that long stroke drone. I love that. Clap coming back. It's like a techno-trainwhistle. really do enjoy it. Again, I suppose that vocal does very much give it a party type of atmosphere, but I don't think it's in a, overly commercial or, sort of cliche club way. I think it does still feel very much like an underground acid tune, but one that's having a bit of fun at the same time. And it's another one with lots of different layers of acid. It's really like a large acid conversation with a lot of different voices. There's gurgling acid, there's bubbling acid, there's more like spiraling acid. There's all different layers, and there's parts where they're all sort of, in a large conversation with each other. There's parts where you can hear some more specifically, like right in the outro there and in the intro, the bookended beginning and ending of the track. There's that bouncy type of spiraling acid line, so that's very much I suppose if you're making a tune that references acid being in your mind or in your soul, then it behooves you to have a lot of acid work overall and to have interlaying layers that very much make it an acid dominant track where, that's the essence, that's the point of the tune, even more than, say, regular acid techno. So yeah, I think it's a top track. I don't agree with some of the more negative assessments of it. Again, everyone's free to their opinion. That's the cool thing about Discogs, is you can, write a comment about one track, about the whole record, and, you can give your opinion, and I don't hold that against anyone. But yeah, I think it's a totally good release, and I enjoy this very much. It reminds me, I did use this in one of my video mixes from a party, one that was called Acid Rain, which was not too far away from where I live. Most parties that I've played are up in the LA area, if not LA proper. But this one was in more recent years. I want to say it was like 2015. Shout out to my friend Holger, who put the party on. So big ups to you if you see this, Holger. But it was in Costa Mesa, I believe, which is another city in Orange County. Not like right next door to where I live, but maybe like a 20-minute drive. So yeah, it was nice because a lot of the parties back in the day, and even more recently, it's an hour or more drive up and back. But this one was much more close at hand. And the one thing I remember about this track is right at the main break, after that breakdown, where again that like techno-trainwhistle slash like techno-wind type of sound, which I think really does add a bit of atmosphere and make it a bit darker than the track would be otherwise overall. I remember right when the break happens and the drop comes back in, I think it was actually because I was mixing on top of like one of those folding tables that was itself on top of a hollow stage, meaning like a wood stage, which is not, there's like air under it. It's not like, solid concrete ground. And I think that just made the tables a bit more, they could be vibrated more. And I think it was like me maybe, getting ready to line up the second record, the next record I was going to play. And, I think it was like me like adjusting the spindle in the middle or something, but it like made the record skip. So when I hear the drop in this record, the main drop, it always reminds me of that in a party where I played this, it actually ended up skipping. Now, it wasn't terrible, it was just a quick skip, but anyone who's a DJ, like, you're in time, like, you're in the measures, in the 32s, the 64s, the 128s. So when a track skips, it like throws you off, because then you have to go like reset the incoming record, wait for the next measure break, and then line it up again. And just as your brain is, not explicitly counting the beats, but your brain, when you're a DJ, you're just counting the beats like sort of unconsciously or subconsciously. And so when a track skips, it like really throws your brain off. It's like, oh wait, like it's out of time now, like what? So yeah, I do always think of that. But yes, this is another one that I played in one of my DJ mixes. So if you want to see that live in a party setting, check out my live at Acid Rain mix, which I uploaded a few years ago. And while Luca is very much having acid dreams and getting comfortable next to acid in my mind, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.